What's up, Broncos country? Welcome back inside the UC Health Training Center for another episode of Broncos Now. Team reporter and host Sydney Jones here. And coming up on today's episode, we'll hear from head coach Nathaniel Hackett and all three coordinators as they spoke to the media today. Plus, I'll have the latest injury report, and cornerback Pat Surtain discusses being named a 2023 Pro Bowl starter. All that and more coming up. The big news coming out of the UC Health Training Center today is that cornerback Pat Surtain was named a 2023 Pro Bowl starter. Take a listen as Surtain spoke on what this accolade means to him.
Yeah, it means a lot, especially, when you put the work in and, you work hard, for reasons like this to get all the accolades and stuff like that. So, it's a big accomplishment for me and my family, of course, for my dad. Being in Pro Bowls as well, too, so that's a blessing. But, it just goes to show the work I put in and, what my peers and everybody thinks of me. So it's a big accomplishment.
And defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero also discussed how deserving Pat Surtain is of this recognition and how he's seen him grow over the past year.
It's definitely a great accomplishment. The great thing about him is every day he comes in, he works his butt off, and he's got such a professional mindset, such a work ethic for such a young player. And, he's made strides in a lot of areas, his recognition, his knowledge of the defense, his understanding of the NFL game. But he'll be the first one to tell you, too, that, at the end of the day, he knows it's not only a reflection of himself, but all the people around him, especially his teammates. And, we want to win more so than anything. And that's our mindset. And we definitely want to acknowledge the guys that, help us get that job done and the guys that get the individual accolades. But at the end of the day, it's about winning on the field.
And safety Justin Simmons was selected as a first alternate for this year's Pro Bowl. Justin talked today about what it meant to receive this recognition, given the fact that he missed 5 games this season.
Yeah, I think, first of all, obviously disappointed, right? Like one of my goals was to be a starter. But I think with putting things in perspective, missing 5 games this year, the 4 on IR, and then I obviously missed the Titans game, after the bye. And, it was disappointing, but at the same time, I think, missing five games and still being able to be up there in the conversation, it's still like special. And I think it's really cool, just a testament to, like my play and how coaches and other players around the league look at that as well. But I think it's also a great group of guys, that did make it, no ill will or shots, at them. I think they're amazing talents in elevating the safety position. But obviously, I think highly of myself and confident in my abilities. And there's just more motivation, just like last year, thinking first alternate, I believe last year as well. And so they just continue to build and keep this thing going.
And head coach Nathaniel Hackett went on to discuss just how deserving both Pat and Justin are.
With Pat, we all know how great of a player he is, and he's an even better person. I think it's such a great honor for any player to be selected to the Pro Bowl because of the format, whether it be because it's the fans, it's the players. Those are the priorities. And I think it's just amazing. It's such a compliment to him, but he's proved that on the field with everything he's done and how he handles himself off the field, everything. And I just think it's awesome. It's such a great deal for him now. I think with great players, you want to get those wins, and there's more guys that we have on this team. We got to win more games to get more guys on the Pro Bowl. But Justin Simmons is another guy. I mean, for him to be a first alternate, I think is incredible, especially for how many games he missed. He's been playing at a high level, and I think if he would have gotten all those games in, I believe he would have been there. But I'm biased with a lot of the guys on our team, and very happy for Pat and for Justin.
Justin Simmons did go on to talk about how maybe the Broncos' record this season might have impacted some of the team's individual accolades.
Yeah, I think winning games ultimately helps, right? I don't think it hurts in any way, shape, or form. Then I think there's just years where, like a year for Pat, right? Pat's a starter in the Pro Bowl, and he's played lights out like week in and week out. To the points where targets he's not even really getting targeted. And that's special, only in year 2. And yeah, I mean, it stinks that the second the 2-game interception, deal happened maybe a week after the closing, but those things tend to happen. My biggest thing is just trying to consistently be my best self as a player, as a leader, and making the plays that I have. And I know like guys around the league, respect the way that I play the game. I know players and coaches watch that stuff as well. And I try not to get caught up in all the, the Pro Bowl, the All Pro, all those are accolades that I'm obviously shooting for. The respect of my teammates and my coaches, those mean the world to me. So as long as I'm not letting them down and I'm playing to the best of my ability, that's what I'm the most focused on. And yeah, once those accolades will continue to stack if I just keep doing what I'm doing. And obviously, I think winning games would help, but that's not the only thing.
Winning more games starts this weekend in Los Angeles. Offensive coordinator Justin Allen spoke today on how he hopes to see this offense continue to build on their past 2 performances.
Each defense is different. Arizona was presenting, with 99 being in line, and you got to account for him, and then having Buda Baker everywhere, and then pressuring in every direction, just having a plan to give, Rip an idea of like, this is what we're looking for in certain. You have the ability to get the ball out of your hands in a run situation. That we have an alert outside. You see Buda come, then you can toss it out there, and we were very effective in those situations. Whereas LA presents a different problem, with the other 99, and then having a core linebacking guy. They're really good as far as just playing the run and the pass, and then 5 leading it on the back end. It presents different problems. So as far as just the game plan itself, it will generally shift in certain directions depending on your personnel offensively and who's available. And then the second thing is, what's this defense really good at stopping, and how can you combat that? So, still having a lot of variety in the run game is going to be, help us down the line here. I think the more looks you give on tape and build off of it from the week before and present the same look, but do something differently each week, I feel like that's going to be something that we're looking forward to, each and every week for the rest of the season. So, with Russell and back there, nothing's going to change when it comes to the game plan itself and the orchestration that you got to get everybody in and out of the huddle and just, get us to the right play itself and make smart decisions in those situations where you could have a run or a throw. So I feel really good with the plan so far and how Russell's been handling it and everyone. So I look forward to Sunday.
And as we wrap up the top news of the day, let's take a look at today's injury report. Outside linebacker Randy Gregory, wide receiver Kendall Hinton, running back Latavius Murray, guard Dalton Reisner, and cornerback K'Wan Williams all did not participate in practice today. Wide receiver Cortland Sutton was limited, and Coach Hackett announced that offensive lineman Tom Compton was placed on IR with a back injury, and his season will be over. And I had a chance to catch up with Los Angeles Rams staff writer Stu Jackson to take a look at this matchup from the Rams' perspective. Take a listen. Stu, thank you so much for joining me today and being on the show.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks, Sydney.
Yeah, of course. How are things going over there in LA?
Pretty good. I just like, you guys, I'm sure, probably not where we, expected to be here in week 16, but nonetheless, still a lot of exciting things happening and to talk about. And so it's great. Obviously, the weather's been fantastic too. So can't really complain there.
Yeah, excited to be out there this weekend and have a warm Christmas this year. I know we were talking a little bit before the show. It's negative 14 degrees out here today. So excited to be in Los Angeles this weekend. Well, so you mentioned it, both the Broncos and the Rams are sitting, in a situation in a season that they both really didn't expect this year. I know the Rams, they were officially eliminated from the playoffs on Monday night. So what's just kind of been the mood or the mindset over there in the building and in the locker room this week?
Yeah, really, it's just about playing with pride and for pride at this point. That's been the message really from a lot of the players, is just, playing for the guys who, maybe are injured and can't play, for whatever reason. And, there are also some guys too that, because of their contract situation, they still have plenty to play for here over the final 3 games as well. So, even playing for those guys in a sense. And so everybody is kind of in that mindset of, the circumstances are what they are. So let's try to make the most of it, whether it's evaluating some of the younger players on the roster or, some of those aforementioned guys in their circumstances and kind of going from there.
Yeah. Stu, I know the Rams acquired Baker Mayfield just over 2 weeks ago. We saw him pull off that crazy win versus the Raiders on Thursday night back in week 14, but they weren't able to get the win versus the Packers this past Monday night. So Stu, what have you just thought about Baker's performance the past few weeks, and how do you hope to see him just continue to improve as you guys head into this weekend?
Yeah, I think he's done as well as you can expect for somebody that basically had a 40-hour onboarding process prior to that Raiders game, and had a real crunch to get ready for that, and then had a little bit more time to prepare for the Packers. So I think he's doing as much as he can with what's being asked of him in this offense, and so it's really just about continuing to take what the defense gives him, and focusing from a game plan specific standpoint, because he was asked about that last week. Like, do you have to learn the whole playbook, or how are you guys kind of approaching that? And both him and head coach Sean McVay said we just wanted to focus on the next opponent and not have to worry about overloading him with information. So really between those things, that's kind of where he's at, and what I'm looking forward to seeing, and kind of how the coaching staff is evaluating him at this point as well.
I know Rams running back Cam Akers, he was the most productive guy on offense for the Rams on Monday night. So how do you hope to see him just build off of that performance and continue to step up? Like you mentioned, there's just so many injuries across the board for you guys.
Yeah, well, the offense has certainly run well when Cam Akers has also run the ball well. As you know, when that is going well, and when that's effective, it helps open things up with play action passing, which is something that is a strong suit for Baker especially. And so if you can achieve that balance, and if you can get Cam going again, that'll certainly open things up for the rest of the offense as well. And so he was over 5 yards a carry, which again, even behind an offensive line that's been banged up by injury, that's a pretty impressive number, and something that certainly look to continue to do.
Well, I know Aaron Donald, he's been out the past 3 weeks, I believe, due to a high ankle sprain. What's the latest on him, and have the coaches said anything about where his status might be for this weekend yet?
Yeah, there's just as it's been each of the last 3 weeks, they're taking this week by week with Aaron. He didn't practice on Wednesday, and so still to be determined, I guess, what his status looks like for this week. But obviously that's been a pretty big absence, as you can imagine, for the Rams defense, and so we'll see what that looks like for this week. But again, just taking it week to week with him right now.
Yeah, what have you liked about some of those guys who's really stepped up in his place the past few weeks?
Yeah, well, until Marquise Copeland got hurt, he was doing really well. I thought with the opportunities he got, you were seeing more of Jonah Williams in there as well. Michael Hoyt probably would have been a guy who would have been playing more on the interior, but obviously they've been playing him more at outside linebacker, just to see what he can give them there. So it's been a lot of Jonah, and again, before he got hurt, it was a lot of Marquise, and so those two guys. But Bobby Brown especially, second year guy, he was somebody that McVay called out actually in his press conference yesterday, saying that he was one of the guys who's really made the most of his opportunities. So he's someone to certainly watch for this weekend as well, if Aaron doesn't end up playing.
Yes, Stu, looking at this matchup as a whole, what do you think's really just the key matchup to kind of watch and hone in on this Sunday?
Well, just coming off of the game that Latavius Murray had last week, I would say it's stopping the run. Obviously he can still run the ball at a high level, and went for over 100 yards. So, stopping him first and foremost is going to be key. And then I also think too, I mean, you can't minimize the impact of a healthy Russell Wilson, who sounds like, based on head coach Nathaniel Hackett's comments, is expected to play this week. So, stopping him as well. And also you got to keep, Jerry Jeudy in mind too. I mean, I know a lot of these keys are on offense, but like those are the guys that have, at least from what I've seen, have been performing at a pretty high level. So a big test for not only the secondary, but also I would say the defensive front as well, between again, Judy's performance and also the way that Latavius Murray has run the ball.
Yep, for sure. And last one here for you, Stu. Who's someone on the Rams that kind of flies under the radar that the Broncos maybe should be on the lookout for this weekend, as you think they might have a big impact on this game?
Yeah, I'll go back to Michael Hoyt again, somebody who originally started out as playing on the defensive line, and is still technically a defensive lineman, but has been playing at outside linebacker out of necessity, just because of some of the attrition at that position due to injury and transaction and things like that. So he's someone that has really made the most of his opportunities and been able to generate some consistent pressure in the pass rush that the Rams have quite honestly needed. So he's someone that could potentially be due for a big game, or at least is someone to keep an eye on.
Well, we'll have our eyes out for him then. Stu, appreciate you coming on the show today. I'm looking forward to coming out there to LA this weekend.
All right, sounds great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that'll do it for today's episode of Broncos Now. Broncos Country, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you will meet me right back here for a game preview tomorrow evening. I will see you all then.